The alarm bells rang through the Galactic Council monitoring station. Tae-min looked up from his coffee as red lights flashed across the control room. Something was wrong. The tall alien ran to his station and checked the screens. A message was coming in from the outer rim systems. The transmission was broken and hard to hear. Static filled most of the words, but Tae-min could make out enough to understand the problem. The human mining colony on Kepler 442b had gone silent. The last message from the planet was strange and frightening. "This is Colony Director Park speaking," the voice said through the static. "We found something down here, something old. The humans they're scared. We're going deeper, but the equipment keeps breaking. There's writing on the walls that nobody can read. Send help. Send someone who knows about old things. The humans won't stop digging. They say they have to know what's down there. Something is wrong with this place. Something is very wrong." Then the message cut off completely. Tae-min played the message again. Park was a human name, but humans ran most of the mining operations in that sector. They were good at digging and didn't mind the dangerous work. The council called them Deathworlders because they came from a planet that tried to kill everything that lived on it. Most aliens thought humans were tough, but not very smart. So-Ra walked over to Tae-min's station. She was the military advisor for this sector. Her green skin showed she was nervous. "What do we know about that colony?" she asked. Tae-min pulled up the files. 50,000 humans. They've been there for 2 years, mining rare metals for the council. Never had any problems before. Good safety record. They followed all the rules. And now they're gone? Looks like it. The automated systems are still running, but no one is answering communications. The daily report stopped coming in 3 days ago. Hyunwoo joined them at the station. He was a xenobiologist who studied different alien species. He spent most of his time watching humans because they were so strange compared to other species. "This doesn't sound like normal human behavior," he said. "Humans are curious, but they are also careful. They don't usually dig into things that scare them." So-Ra nodded. "Unless they found something valuable, humans will risk almost anything for the right price." "No," Hyunwoo shook his head. "The message said they were scared. Humans don't keep going when they're scared unless something is forcing them to. This is different." Tae-min sent a probe to the Kepler system. It would take 6 hours to get there and another 6 to send back information. While they waited, he tried to contact other stations near the colony. None of them had heard anything strange. The shipping lanes were clear, no pirates or raiders in the area. When the probe reached Kepler 442b, the pictures it sent back were confusing. The colony looked normal from space. All the buildings were there. The lights were on. The machines were still working. But there were no life signs anywhere. "Send the probe down to the surface," So-Ra ordered. The probe flew down to the main colony center. The streets were empty. Vehicles sat where people had left them. Doors hung open. Food was still on tables in the dining halls, but it had gone bad days ago. Everything looked like people had just stopped what they were doing and walked away. But the strangest thing was the mining site. The humans had been digging in a specific area for rare metals. Now there was a huge hole in the ground. The hole went down much deeper than any mining operation should go. Heavy equipment surrounded the opening. Lights pointed down into the darkness. "How deep is that hole?" Tae-min asked. The probe's sensors worked to measure the depth. The numbers kept climbing. 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers. The hole kept going down until the sensors couldn't read any further. "The mining permits only allowed them to dig down 500 meters, So-Ra said. "This is 5 times deeper than they were supposed to go." Hyunwoo was studying the pictures carefully. "Look at the equipment, see how it's arranged. They weren't just mining. They were excavating something specific. This looks like an archaeological dig." The probe sent down a small camera into the hole. The walls were smooth and obviously artificial. Strange symbols covered the rock surfaces. The symbols didn't match any known language in the council database. They looked old, very old. At the bottom of the hole, the camera found something that made all three aliens step back from their screens. There was a doorway. It was huge, easily, big enough for a ship to fly through. The door was open, and beyond it lay corridors that disappeared into darkness. The architecture was unlike anything any council species had ever built. "This is not human work," Tae-min said quietly. "No," Hyeon-woo agreed. "This is something else. Something that was here before the humans arrived." So-ra was already preparing. "A report for the council leadership. We need to send an investigation team, a small one. Just enough ships to find out what happened and bring back information." "What about the humans?" Tae-min asked. 50,000 people don't just disappear." "Maybe they're down there in those tunnels," Hyun-woo suggested. "Maybe they found something and decided to explore it." "For 3 days? Without sending any messages?" So-ra finished her report and sent it to the council headquarters. "That's what we're going to find out. I'm recommending a 3-ship investigation fleet, mixed crews from different species, standard exploration protocols." Within hours, the council approved the mission. They selected Commander Tae-min to lead the investigation. So-ra would be his military advisor. Hyeon-woo would handle any scientific discoveries. The mission was simple. Find out what happened to the humans and determine if there was any threat to council interests in the sector. As the 3 ships prepared to leave for the Kepler system, Tae-min looked at the pictures from the probe one more time. Something about the empty colony bothered him. It wasn't just that the humans were gone, it was how they had left. No signs of struggle, no emergency broadcasts, no evacuation procedures. It was like they had all decided to walk into that hole, in the ground, and never come back out. The investigation fleet launched the next morning. The journey to Kepler 442b would take 4 days. Tae-min hoped they would find the humans alive and well, maybe just exploring the underground structures, but something deep in his mind told him they were heading towards something much more dangerous than a simple missing persons case. The empty colony waited for them in the darkness of space, keeping its secrets buried deep beneath the surface of an alien world. The investigation fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler system. Commander Tae-min stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the planet grow larger on the main screen. Everything looked normal from this distance. The mining colony's automated beacon was still broadcasting its identification signal. Young-ho, the chief science officer, ran scans of the entire system. "No other ships in the area," he reported. "No energy signatures except for the colony's power generators. Still no life signs on the planet's surface." Yoon-ji, the military tactical analyst, checked the defense systems. "All quiet. No threats detected. Whatever happened here, it wasn't an attack from outside." The 3 ships moved closer to the planet. Tae-min ordered them to stay in orbit while they gathered more information. He wanted to be careful. 50,000 humans didn't just disappear without a reason. Jin Woo, the communications specialist, tried to access the colony's computer systems from orbit. "I'm getting into their network now," he said. "The main computers are still running. All systems show normal operations. But look at this." He put the colony's work schedules on the main screen. For the past 6 months, the mining operations had been focused on one specific area. The work orders showed normal metal extraction at first, but starting 3 months ago, the orders changed. The humans had been digging straight down in the same spot. "They found something," Young-ho said. "Look at the equipment requests. They asked for archaeological tools, deep earth scanners, translation software for unknown languages." Yoon-ji studied the supply records. "They also ordered a lot of weapons, military-grade equipment that mining colonies don't usually need." "Weapons for what?" Tae-min asked. "The orders don't say, but they requested them through emergency channels. Fast delivery. High priority." Jinwoo found the colony's security footage. The last recording showed humans working frantically around the dig site. They moved with purpose, but also with fear. Many of them kept looking over their shoulders as if something was watching them. "Here," Jinwoo said, pointing to a specific recording. "This is from 4 days ago." The screen showed a group of humans standing around the edge of the massive hole. They were arguing about something. One human, a woman in a mining supervisor's uniform, was shouting at the others. The audio was unclear, but they could make out some words. "Too deep," the woman was saying. "This is too deep. We need to stop." A man in the group shook his head. "We can't stop now, not when we're this close. Do you see what's down there? This changes everything." "It changes nothing if we're all dead," the woman replied. The argument went on for several minutes. Finally, the group split up. Some humans walked away from the dig site. Others stayed behind and continued working. The recording ended there. "That was the last footage from the surface," Jinwoo said. "After that, all the cameras stopped working." Young-ho scanned the planet with more powerful sensors. "The hole goes down at least 10 kilometers, maybe more. I'm detecting artificial structures deep underground, huge chambers, complex tunnel systems. Any signs of the humans down there? I can't tell. The rock is interfering with the scans. We'd have to get much closer to see anything." Taemin made his decision. "We're going down to the surface, but we go carefully. Full environmental suits, armed security teams. If something scared 50,000 humans, we need to be ready." The landing shuttle touched down near the colony's main building. The away team included Taemin, Young-ho, Yoonji, and 6 security officers. They walked through the empty streets, checking buildings as they went. Everything was exactly as the probe had shown. Food on tables, clothes in lockers, personal items scattered around living quarters, but no people anywhere. Young-ho used his portable scanners to check for signs of struggle. "No evidence of violence," he reported. "No blood, no damage to buildings. It's like everyone just left at the same time." They reached the dig site and looked down into the massive hole. Lights had been strung along the walls, creating a path down into the darkness. The symbols carved into the rock walls were clearly visible now. They covered every surface, getting more complex the deeper they went. "This isn't random carving," Young-ho said, studying the symbols. "This is a language, a very sophisticated one. But it's not in any council database." Yoonji pointed to something near the edge of the hole. "Look at this." It was a human mining helmet, sitting on a work table. Next to it was a datapad with notes written in human script. Yoonji picked up the datapad and read the entries. "Day 73 of deep excavation," she read aloud. "We've reached the first chamber. The architecture is incredible. Whoever built this was far more advanced than any current council species. The symbols appear to be some kind of warning system, but we can't translate them yet." She scrolled to later entries. "Day 89, found more chambers, much larger. The symbols are changing. They seem to be telling a story. Dr. Park thinks they're historical records. But some of the other researchers are getting nervous. Strange sounds coming from deeper levels." The final entry was from 5 days ago. "Day 95. We've made contact, not with the builders, but with something they left behind. The deep chambers aren't empty. There's something down there, something that's been waiting. Dr. Park wants to keep exploring, but half the team wants to evacuate. The symbols near the bottom level aren't warnings. They're instructions. Instructions for waking something up." Taemin felt a chill run through his body. Waking something up? Young-ho was scanning deeper into the hole with his equipment. "I'm detecting energy signatures from the bottom levels. Very faint, but they're there. Something is active down there." Jinwoo's voice came through their communicators from the ship, in orbit. "Commander, we're picking up unusual readings from the planet's core. Energy levels are rising slowly but steadily. Whatever's down there, it's getting stronger." Yoonji looked at Taemin. "We need to go down there. We need to find out what happened to the humans. Or we need to get out of here, Young Ho said. The humans had 50,000 people and unlimited resources. If they couldn't handle whatever's down there, what makes us think we can? Tae-min studied the hole. The lights disappeared into darkness far below. The symbols on the walls seemed to move in the flickering light. Every instinct told him to order an immediate evacuation, but he had a duty to find out what happened. We go down, he decided. But not far. Just to the first chamber. We gather information and get out. The team prepared their equipment and started the long climb down into the ancient tunnels. Behind them, the empty colony sat silent under the alien sun. Above them, Jinwoo monitored their progress from orbit, watching energy readings that continued to climb with each passing hour. Deep below the surface, something very old was beginning to stir. 3 weeks passed with no word from Commander Tae-min's investigation team. The Council monitoring station tried to contact them every day but received only silence. Long-range sensors showed something very strange happening in the Kepler system. Energy readings were off the charts and getting stronger every hour. Min Ho, the Council president, called an emergency meeting at the capital world. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in the Great Assembly Hall. The mood was tense. Everyone knew something was seriously wrong. The investigation fleet has been missing for 21 days, Min Ho announced to the assembly. Our last contact was a brief message saying they had found ancient structures beneath the human colony. Since then, nothing. HFY, the military supreme commander, stood up from her seat. Her species was known for being calm in dangerous situations, but even she looked worried. Our deep space sensors are detecting massive energy disturbances in the Kepler system. The readings suggest something is emerging from the planet's surface. Dong Hyun, the head of xenoarchaeology, had been studying the data for weeks. Based on the energy signatures and the structure readings from the probe, I believe the humans discovered something called the Builders. Ancient references in our oldest archives mention a species that consumed entire star systems millions of years ago. The assembly hall erupted in shocked voices. Representatives demanded more information. Min Ho called for order. "What happened to the Builders?" someone shouted from the crowd. "They disappeared," Dong Hyun replied. "Completely. No one knows why or how. But if the humans found their technology and accidentally activated it." Yeon Soo, the intelligence director, stood up with a data pad in her hands. "We've analyzed the final transmissions from the investigation fleet. Commander Tae-min's last message was very brief but terrifying. He said, and I quote, 'The structures are ships, massive ships buried under the planet. They're powering up.' The humans didn't disappear. They were absorbed. The technology is converting organic matter into energy. We're detecting movement in the deep chambers. Something is coming to the surface. Recommend immediate evacuation of all systems within 50 light years." The message ended there. No further communications had been received. HFY activated the main display screen. It showed long-range sensor data from the Kepler system. Huge objects were rising from the planet's surface. Each one was the size of a small moon. They moved slowly, but with obvious purpose. "These are the builder ships," HFY explained. "Our analysis suggests they've been dormant for millions of years. The human mining operation somehow triggered their reactivation sequence." "How many ships?" Min Ho asked. 17 that we can detect, but there may be more still buried. Each ship is larger than anything in our combined fleets. And they're growing." "Growing?" Yeon Soo pulled up more data. "The ships are consuming everything in the system. Asteroids, moons, even matter from the star itself. They're using the raw material to expand their size and power." The assembly was silent for a long moment. Finally, a representative from the warrior species spoke up. "What's our military response?" HFY looked grim. "I'm recommending we mobilize the Grand Armada, every ship from every member species. This isn't just a threat to one colony or one system. If these builder ships spread beyond Kepler, they could consume half the galaxy." Min Ho nodded. How long to assemble the Grand Armada? 2 weeks. Maybe less if we use emergency protocols. Do it. Send the call to every council world. We need every ship, every weapon, every soldier we can gather. As the assembly broke up to coordinate the military response, Dong-hyun remained behind to study the ancient archives. He searched through records that were older than most current civilizations. The references to the builders were fragmentary and often contradictory, but a pattern emerged. The builders weren't just a space-faring species. They were a force of nature. They appeared in a star system, consumed everything in it, and moved onto the next system. They built ships that could remake themselves using any available matter. They turned entire worlds into raw material for their fleet. But something had stopped them. The archives suggested they had encountered another species, one that fought them to a standstill. The final references spoke of a great war that ended with both sides disappearing from known space. Dong-hyun wondered what species could have been powerful enough to stop the builders. The archives gave no clear answer, but there were hints. References to the survivors from the Death World and those who refused to yield. 2 weeks later, the Grand Armada assembled at the edge of Council space. 10,000 ships from 47 different species, warships, support vessels, and command carriers. It was the largest military force ever brought together in Galactic. History Aicha stood on the bridge of the command ship, watching the fleet organize itself for the journey to Kepler. Each species brought their best technology and their most experienced crews. The combined firepower could destroy entire star systems, but as the fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed, the sensors detected something unexpected. Another fleet was already in the Kepler system, engaged in battle with the builder ships. "Who is it?" HFY demanded. The sensor operator studied his readings carefully. "The energy signatures are human. It's a human fleet, but not like any human ships in our database. These are heavily modified for war." Yan-Su looked at the tactical display. "How many ships?" "Approximately 300. Much smaller than our force. But they're fighting the builder vessels directly, and they're winning." HFY stared at the display in disbelief. "Humans? Fighting the builders? That's impossible." The sensor readings updated. "The human fleet is using tactics we've never seen before. They're ramming their ships into the builder vessels, detonating their own reactors at close range. They're treating their ships like weapons instead of vehicles." Minho's voice came over the communication system from the council capital. "What's the status of the human fleet?" They're actually destroying the builder ships," HFY reported. "But they're taking massive casualties. They're fighting like they don't care if they survive." The Grand Armada jumped to faster than light, speed, racing toward the Kepler system. But questions filled everyone's mind. Where had this human fleet come from? How did they know about the builder threat? And why were they willing to sacrifice themselves to fight an enemy that could destroy the galaxy? As they traveled through space toward the battle, long-range communications picked up a transmission from the human fleet. The message was brief and spoken in the calm voice of a human military commander. "This is Admiral Kyung-soo of the Earth, Defense Force. We received your investigation team's final transmission. We're handling the situation. Recommend all council forces maintain safe distance. We're going to make sure this threat never spreads beyond this system." The transmission ended. The Grand Armada continued toward Kepler, but now they were going to witness something that would change how the galaxy viewed the human race forever. The Grand Armada dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler system and immediately saw something that would haunt every crew member for the rest of their lives. The human fleet was locked in the most brutal space battle anyone had ever witnessed. Admiral Kyung-soo commanded the human forces from the massive dreadnought Indomitable. The ship was twice the size of any human vessel in Council records, covered in weapon systems that violated multiple galactic warfare treaties. Around him, 300 human warships fought with tactics that defied all military logic. Captain Su Jin piloted her frigate Fury of Terra directly into the path of a builder construct's main weapon. Instead of trying to avoid the blast, she accelerated toward it. At the last second, she ejected her ship's entire reactor core, turning it into a guided missile that tore through the alien vessel's hull. "Target destroyed," Su Jin reported calmly, as her ship spun away from the explosion, half its hull missing. Moving to engage the next construct. Captain Jae-sung watched from his destroyer Death's Head as a builder ship tried to consume one of the system's moons. Without hesitation, he ordered his crew to ram the construct at full speed. The impact should have destroyed both ships, but Jae-sung had modified his vessel's hull to punch through alien armor like a giant bullet. "Direct hit on Construct 7, he reported, as his ship emerged from the other side of the builder vessel. "Enemy ship is breaking apart. Continuing attack run." Aboard the Council command ship, Supreme Commander A. Cha watched the battle with growing amazement and horror. "How are they doing this?" she asked her tactical officers. "Those builder constructs are larger than our biggest warships. Their weapons should be tearing the human fleet apart." The sensor operator studied his readings. "The human ships are heavily modified, Commander. Their hulls are reinforced with materials we don't recognize. Their weapons are overcharged beyond safe limits. And their tactics?" "What about their tactics?" "They're using their own ships as weapons. They're ramming, self-destructing, and overloading systems on purpose. It's like they don't care about surviving the battle." High One, the human chief engineer aboard the Indomitable, worked frantically to modify their weapons during the fight. She had discovered that builder technology was vulnerable to specific energy frequencies, but reaching those frequencies required pushing human reactors far beyond their design limits. "Admiral," she called to Kyung-soo, "I can increase our main weapon's power by 300%, but the reactor will overload after 10 minutes. "Do it," Kyung-soo replied without hesitation. "We only need 9 minutes. Meanwhile, Sang-woo, the human xenobiologist who had studied the original SOS data from the mining colony, worked to understand builder technology from the samples they had recovered. What he found terrified him more than the battle raging outside. "Admiral," he reported over the communication system, "the builder constructs aren't just ships. They're alive. The technology bonds with organic matter and converts it into part of the ship's systems. That's what happened to our people in the mining colony. They weren't killed. They were absorbed." Kyung-soo processed this information while coordinating the battle. "Can the absorption process be reversed?" "No, sir. Once organic matter is integrated into builder technology, it becomes part of the construct's intelligence network. Our people are gone." This news spread through the human fleet instantly. Every captain, every crew member learned that they're missing. Colonists had been consumed by the alien technology. The effect on human morale was immediate and terrifying. Instead of breaking their spirit, the knowledge that their people had been absorbed made the humans fight even more aggressively. Captain Su Jin led a squadron of fighters directly into a builder construct's absorption ports, detonating their ships inside the alien vessel's digestive systems. Captain Jae-sung coordinated precision strikes against builder weak points, using weapons that required his crew to manually target while standing next to unshielded reactor cores. The radiation exposure would kill them within hours, but they continued fighting anyway. The Council fleet watched from a safe distance as the humans employed tactics that no civilized species would consider. They overloaded their own life support systems to create toxic gas clouds that interfered with builder sensors. They ejected their crew quarters to create debris fields that damaged alien hulls. They used gravitational weapons that bent space-time itself, knowing the effects would eventually tear their own ships apart. "Why are they doing this?" Cha asked her staff. "They could retreat. They could wait for our support. Why are they sacrificing themselves?" A communication came in from Admiral Kyung-soo. His voice was calm despite the chaos around him. "Council, forces, this is Admiral Kyung-soo. Maintain your current position. Do not approach the battle zone." "Admiral," We have 10,000 ships, HR replied. We can help you defeat these constructs. Negative. Your weapons and tactics are designed for fighting other civilized species. The builders require a different approach. We're handling this. You're taking massive casualties. Our sensors show you've lost over half your fleet. There was a pause before Kyung-soo replied. The loss of life is acceptable if it prevents the builders from spreading beyond this system. That's what we do, Commander. We're the species you call when your civilization is ending and you need someone willing to die to save it. Hyewan's voice came over the communication system. Admiral, the weapon modifications are complete. All ships report ready for final assault. Kyung-soo looked at the tactical display. 17 builder constructs remained active, but they were damaged, and their coordination was breaking down. The human fleet had been reduced to less than 50 ships, but each remaining vessel carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. All ships. This is Admiral Kyung-soo. Execute final assault protocol. Target the construct command ships first. Remember, we're not trying to capture anything. We're making sure nothing survives. The remaining human ships moved into formation for what everyone knew would be the last attack. Captain Soo-jin's Fury of Terra was held together by emergency hull patches and had only one functional weapon system. Captain Jae-sung's Death's Head was venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches, but they moved forward anyway, accelerating toward the builder constructs with the determination of a species that had evolved on a world where everything tried to kill them every day. The Council fleet watched as the final battle began. What they witnessed would change how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. These weren't just tough survivors or skilled warriors. These were apex predators who had turned the art of survival into a weapon that could destroy threats the rest of the galaxy couldn't even understand, and they were about to discover that the humans' definition of acceptable losses included their entire fleet. The final battle lasted 3 days. The Council's Grand Armada watched from the edge of the system as the human fleet executed the most brutal and effective military campaign in galactic history. What they witnessed challenged everything they thought they knew about warfare, survival, and sacrifice. Admiral Kyung-soo stood on the bridge of the Indomitable as his ship took direct hits from 3 builder constructs. The hull was breached in dozens of places. Half his crew was dead, but his voice remained calm as he coordinated the final assault. Captain Soo-jin, status report, he called over the communication system. Fury of Terra is down to emergency power, Soo-jin replied. Her ship was barely recognizable, more wreckage than vessel. But our main weapon is still functional. Ready to engage Construct 12. Captain Jae-sung, what's your situation? Jae-sung's response came through heavy static. Death's Head has lost life support. Crew is working in environmental suits. We have enough air for maybe 6 hours. Our reactor is overloading, but we can control the explosion. Good. Use it against Construct 15. Maximum damage. Hyewan worked frantically in the Indomitable's engine room, surrounded by systems that should have been impossible to keep running. The ship's reactor was operating at 400% capacity. The hull was beginning to buckle from the stress. But she had discovered something important about the builder technology. Admiral, she called over the internal communication system, I've analyzed the construct power systems. They're all connected through some kind of quantum network. If we can overload one of the main constructs, the feedback will damage all the others. Which construct? The largest one. Construct number 1. The command ship. But getting close enough to overload it would require a direct reactor impact. Kyung-soo studied the tactical display. Construct number 1 was massive, easily the size of a small planet. It was protected by 6 smaller constructs and armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. A direct attack would be suicide. Understood, he said simply. Sang-woo, still analyzing builder technology from his laboratory, made a discovery that changed everything. Admiral, the constructs aren't just consuming matter. They're learning. Every ship they destroy, every piece of technology they absorb, makes them smarter. If even one construct escapes this system, it will carry all that knowledge to other builder fleets. Are there other builder fleets? The data suggests yes. Dormant fleets hidden throughout the galaxy. If this fleet sends out a signal, it could wake all of them. Kyung-soo processed this information. The implications were terrifying. The current battle wasn't just about stopping 17 builder constructs. It was about preventing the awakening of builder fleets that could consume the entire galaxy. All ships, he announced. Change of mission parameters. We're not just destroying these constructs. We're making sure they can't send any signals. That means total annihilation. No survivors, no wreckage, nothing. Captain Soo-jin understood immediately. You're talking about collapsing the system. If necessary, yes. Captain Jae-sung's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, I'm beginning my attack run on Construct 15. If this works, it should create a chain reaction that damages several other constructs. The Council fleet watched as the Death's Head accelerated toward one of the builder ships. The human destroyer was leaking atmosphere and radiation, but it moved with deadly purpose. At the last second, Jae-sung ejected his crew in escape pods and guided his ship directly into the construct's core. The explosion was visible from the edge of the system. The overloaded reactor didn't just destroy the builder ship. It created a cascade failure that damaged 4 other constructs and temporarily disrupted their quantum network. Direct hit, Soo-jin reported. 5 constructs down, 12 remaining. But the victory came at a cost. The Death's Head was completely destroyed. Captain Jae-sung and his crew were gone. The escape pods had been caught in the explosion. Kyung-soo didn't hesitate. Captain Soo-jin, prepare for your attack run. Understood, Admiral. Fury of Terra moving to attack position. Soo-jin's ship was even more damaged than Jae-sung's had been. It barely had enough power to move, let alone fight. But she guided it toward the largest group of builder constructs with the same determination that had carried humanity across the galaxy. Her attack destroyed 3 more constructs, but cost the lives of her entire crew. The explosion lit up the system like a second sun. Supreme Commander HFY watched from the Council command ship with growing amazement and horror. They're destroying themselves to win, she said to her staff. Every attack costs them a ship and crew. Should we intervene? Her tactical officer asked. With what? Our weapons can't penetrate builder defenses. Our tactics are useless against this enemy. The humans are the only force that can stop this threat. Admiral Kyung-soo looked at his tactical display. 8 builder constructs remained, including the massive command ship. The human fleet was down to 12 vessels, all critically damaged. But they had learned enough about builder technology to finish the job. All remaining ships, this is Admiral Kyung-soo. Final assault protocol is now in effect. We're going to ram the command construct with everything we have. The combined reactor overloads should destabilize the system's star. Haiwan looked up from her engineering station. Admiral, destabilizing the star will create a black hole. Nothing will survive. That's the point. The builders can't be allowed to spread beyond this system. The remaining human ships formed up for the final attack. Each vessel was loaded with antimatter charges and overloaded reactors. They would strike the builder command ship simultaneously, creating an explosion that would collapse the entire system. The Council fleet received one final transmission from Admiral Kyung-soo. Council forces, this is Admiral Kyung-soo. We're ending this threat permanently. Tell our people back home that we did our job. Tell them the galaxy is safe. The 12 human ships accelerated toward the builder command construct. They faced weapons that could vaporize planets and defenses that had never been breached. But they flew forward anyway, carrying the hopes of a galaxy that would never fully understand the sacrifice being made. The collision created an explosion that tore apart space itself. The builder constructs were vaporized instantly. The system's star collapsed into a black hole, ensuring that nothing could ever escape. The human fleet disappeared into the gravity well, taking the builder threat with them. When the cosmic storm finally cleared, The Council fleet scanned the area where the Kepler system had been. Nothing remained except a black hole and scattered radiation. No ships, no wreckage, no survivors. The Council's records would show that 100,000 human Deathworlders had given their lives to save the galaxy from a threat that could have consumed every living world. They had chosen annihilation over allowing the builder technology to spread. Years later, the Council erected a simple monument at the edge of the black hole that had once been the Kepler system. The inscription was brief, but powerful. Here lies the Deathworlders Armada. They came after the alien SOS. No one survived. The galaxy endures because they chose not to. And in the deepest archives of the Council, a new entry was made in the xenological database. Humans, Deathworlders, Class 9. Recommendation: maintain peaceful relations at all costs. They are the species you call when your civilization is ending, and you need someone willing to die to save it.